why you can't actually ask for the sale. That's what I'm going to be talking about. This is the hidden reason why smart women like you and like me struggle to sell. Why is it still so hard? What if the real reason that you're struggling to sell is not because you don't know how to sell? What if the real reason that you're struggling to sell is because there's something else going on? Hello everyone, I am Evie of evds.com, and today I want to welcome you back if you were here on Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with me. And today we're on lesson number 2 for this series that I decided to create for you. And if you were here with me just a few days ago and you recall what we spoke about, and I hope you do, we spoke about why, if I am so good at what I do, I'm not making, or I like the word manifesting, more money. So we talked about the fact that sometimes you already know what to do. Yes, absolutely. You have taken all the courses, you have the certification, you have the training, maybe you have the experience, even the testimonials, and maybe something else is going on. Because when it comes time to actually share your business offer or ask for the sale, you hesitate. Maybe you get a clenched jaw, or you tighten up, and you don't follow up after you do a sales presentation. What is that all about? Well, as you may recall, I invited you to become more aware and more curious about what is going on internally. What is going on up here? What is going on here? What is going on all over here, the body, right? And maybe even the gut. Scientists say that we have 3 brains. The brain up here, the brain in our hearts, and the gut brain. So examine your entire body, scan it, and see what is going on. And instead of asking, hey, what is wrong with me? Go ahead and ask yourself a better question, which you'll hear me talk about, us asking ourselves better questions all the time, because I think that is so crucial. So the better question, and write this down if you're taking notes, is not what is wrong with me or what am I doing wrong. The better question is, what is happening inside of me right now? So, by the way, if you're tuning in right now for the first time and you missed what we spoke about a few days, make sure that you put in the chat a little bit about you so that we get to know you. Where are you tuning in from? Meaning, where in the world are you? And tell us a little bit about your business there in the chat, because I want to get to know you. This few weeks that we're going to be talking about these topics that I put together is for us to get an opportunity to get to know ourselves first, right? And secondly, for us to get to know each other. So go ahead and put there your information so that we can connect. Feel free to do that now. So let's go back. And by the way, I am going to invite you, if you feel comfortable, to please take out a notebook or a journal, because here are the 3 questions that I asked in the last live stream that I would like for you to answer by yourself in your journal. So here they are. What am I feeling? What am I telling myself? And what am I afraid might happen if I actually do this? So these are great questions to ask yourself when you're getting ready to do a sales presentation, when you're ready to ask for the sale, and kind of plan via your journal, because this is what my FAB money scripting method is all about. It's about kind of like that saying that says start with the end in mind. I want you to keep that in your mind and in your heart as you're planning for that sales call. And by the way, I am not a sales trainer. So what I'm talking about is you are perhaps a good person at selling, or you're good at selling, but maybe you're not. And something happens when it's the moment to ask for the sale and offer your solution. So today I want to invite you to take an inner dialogue and see what is happening, and move what is happening in the head into the heart, so that you can move a step further into manifesting the money that you want and yet that you deserve from your business. So I want you to become internally aware, because there is one particular area that I continue to see that many of us fabulous female entrepreneurs who are experienced, talented, smart, we know business, and we still struggle with it. And here it is: selling, or that four-letter word that we sometimes don't like to talk about. Sales, right? Sale, the sale, or sales is 5, but okay. Please go ahead and share in the chat right now. How do you feel about selling? Selling your business solutions. How do you feel about that? What comes up for you? And maybe you may say, oh, Evie, I don't like selling. I don't like being pushy. Or what do you say? Go ahead and put it in the chat, okay? If you can relate to what I'm talking about, by the way, I want you to type, yes, I can relate, because I want to hear from you. So as women, I believe that we're always selling to each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're always sharing something we like, whether it be a movie we saw, a hair product, a makeup, eyelash thing, whatever. And what happens is that something changes all over here, from here to the rest of our body. And when it comes to selling our solutions, suddenly you may not know what to say. Suddenly you forget what you wanted to say. And it's not because you haven't worked with anyone or sold before, because maybe you do have testimonials. And your testimonials really demonstrate that you have a proven solution to solve the problem that your ideal clients want, right? And maybe it's time to say, here's how I can help you. How do you feel about saying, here's how I can help you? Go ahead and write it down. Here's how I can help you, okay? Because sometimes it is what we say and how we hear it in our heads that may cause some discomfort in us, or somewhere between the two ears, right? So practice. This is what I can offer, or this is what I can help you with. Now, how does that sound? Versus, or is it the same as the investment is? So what is happening as you are writing this down, as you're saying this in your head? Do you hear something that sounds familiar? And I want you then to write in your journal or in the chat, or both, I may not have a selling problem. I may not have a selling problem. How about that? How does that sound to you when you say it to yourself? I may not have a selling problem. So you may have a problem with what is happening inside of you, right? And it only happens apparently when you're asking for the sale, or when you're asking to get paid. Okay, feel that. Okay? Now, previously we talked about asking ourselves better questions. Today, here's the questions that I want us to explore together. Okay? What changes within you, inside of you, when you go from offering to help someone versus asking them to pay you and compensate you for helping them? Are you getting aware there of what's happening? Sit with that. Contemplate that. Meditate on that question. Journal on that question. Because you may agree with me that women like you and I love helping others, right? Yes, of course we do. We love helping. We love helping people, right? Type in the chat, by the way, if you just love doing what you do, whether it be teaching, sharing, helping. Go ahead and type, yes, I love to teach and help. If you like to give and share information, type that. I like to give and share information. Now, how many times have you shared for more than an hour? And perhaps you've given away your best ideas, right? How many times have you spent time with someone, helping them through something? Maybe answering questions, giving advice, educating them, encouraging. And then when it's time to say, I can help you with that, you hesitate. When it's time to ask, would you like me to help you with that? Or would you like me to work with you through that? Do you hesitate? Go ahead and type in the chat if you hesitate. Perhaps when it's time to follow up, do you hesitate? When it's time to ask for the money, do you hesitate? Today, I want you to ask yourself this question. What is the difference between you helping someone and allowing yourself to get paid for helping them? So let's ask it so you can write it in your journal. Here you can ask yourself, your higher self, your nervous system. What is the difference between me helping someone and allowing myself to be paid for helping someone? What is the difference? That's a big question, isn't it? And I want you to notice how you feel, by the way, okay? Now, here's something else that I have noticed. Smart women like you and I are good at finding intelligent reasons why we're not selling. By the way, I say this with love and respect, and I honor you, okay? And, you know, we may say things that sound very convincing, or even think, or even write about things that convince us, oh, I just need to improve my offer. Oh, I need to allow her more time to get to know me. Oh, I need to do more sales and marketing training. Oh, I'm not clear on my offer. Oh, I don't know what to say. I need a script. Whatever it is that comes up for you. Sometimes, by the way, you may need to improve on something, and I'm not saying that you may not. That may be the case. But I have come across so many amazing, fabulous, smart business women that have an amazing sales and marketing background, and I believe a great strategy. And yet, when it comes to that moment of offering to help, I believe I can help you with that. I can help you with that. Would you like me to help you with that? Then something changes, right? And if you are relating to what I am saying, I would greatly appreciate if you would put it in the chat, if this resonates with you, if you are understanding what I'm speaking about. Here is another question I want you to think about. How do you know when you actually need a better strategy, right? How do you know that? How do you know that your strategy is not the problem? And when you may be using that strategy, perhaps sometimes, just to avoid asking for the sale, right? I've been there. I'm speaking all from my heart, by the way, because I have been here, you know, and I know what this is about. Because that is when I believe things get interesting. And here's what I've heard from past and current clients alike. Oh, it's just that I need confidence. That's the excuse we often give. Oh, I need confidence. That's what it is. I need confidence to be able to ask for the sale. I don't feel confident, right? But what if you are actually uncomfortable about asking for money? And it's not about confidence. How about that? How about if it's not about confidence, right? It's not about needing a better sales script or anything like that, right? And what if it is that your body stops and says, no, change the subject, right? And all of a sudden, when it comes to the sale, you continue saying, I have this bonus, and I have this, and I'm going to give you this, and I'm going to add this on, and I'm going to give you this, and more and more and more. Because all of a sudden, you become very uncomfortable, right? And you cannot finish the conversation, perhaps, right? So is any of this relatable to you? Have you been here before? I know I have, and once again, more times than I even want to remember. Okay, so let's imagine something. You're having a conversation with your ideal dream client. The conversation is going beautifully. She's telling you about the problem, and you know you can help her. And all of a sudden you get excited, and you say, oh my goodness, that is exactly what I do. That is exactly how I can help her. And you know in your heart, and your body's getting excited because you feel that you can actually help her and it's coming from your heart. And then you say, I may be able to help you with that. So go ahead and write that in the chat and practice that. I may be able to help you with that. What happens? What is happening right now? I want you to remember what we talked about in our last conversation, and that is to love and be kind to yourself and not judgmental. Just observe what is going on in your body. Observe, how your voice is, how your shoulders are, how you're breathing, what's happening in your tummy. Just observe. Is there a little voice, right? What we call in our financially free fabpreneurs community, the money pest. It's like that little devil talking, pestering you. So that's what we call it, the money pest. And it's coming up with lies, right? And it's saying, what if she says no? What if she thinks I'm pushy? What if she can't afford it? Maybe you haven't even given her the opportunity to decide for herself, and you're making that decision. You're making that judgment call. And sometimes we have done that, right? We judge them. Oh, I don't think they can afford this. Before you even ask, before you even know. And instead of exploring, right, we start to judge them. So one of the things I teach to our fabpreneurs community is this FAB money scripting method that I teach, my signature proprietary method, that helps you, even in advance of a sales call, to write about the sales call and explore and analyze how are you feeling going into it and how you want to feel, okay? And you'll learn more about that as we progress throughout the next few weeks. I want you to tell me, how many times have you decided what someone can and cannot invest with you before you've even given them the opportunity, before you've even asked, before you've even heard what their questions are, right? Because maybe you're afraid of objections. And I've heard many times, and by now you probably have heard the same thing, objections can mean that they're interested. That's what they're asking. They want more information, right? So what am I making it mean about me when I ask someone to pay me? I wrote that down because I wanted to remember. That's why I'm reading it here. What am I making it mean about me when I'm asking someone to pay me, when I'm asking for the sale? Write that in your journal. Put it in the chat if you want. Feel free to do that. I'll say it again. What am I making it mean about me when I'm asking someone to pay me? Right? What does asking for money mean to you? Or ask yourself, what does asking for money mean to me? What does that mean? Does it mean that I start to feeling pushy, greedy, like I'm not spiritual? Like, what is it? I don't want to put words in your mouth, and I want to hear from you in the chat, or you can DM me, if this has moved you somehow. And I want to really invite you to explore what comes up. That's why I like to teach women to journal before and after the sale. To A, just the analytical mind, that helps, but B, go within and find out what is going on, especially if you've been trained in sales and marketing and you know that you're good, but not always, or sometimes something comes up, okay? And by the way, I want you to notice what comes up, once again, without trying to force an answer, without judging yourself, kind of giving yourself some love, right? Now, I want to offer another possibility for you to explore this. What if selling is not simply about asking someone to give you money? What if selling also involves your relationship with giving? Because, there's ask, right? And there's receive. And what if this is the situation with you, that you can ask and you don't have a problem asking, right? The situation changes when it's time for you to receive. So what if the problem is that you have something that does not allow you to receive the money? I don't know what the money pest may be saying in your head. Maybe it doesn't allow you to receive because it's saying, oh my goodness, now you're going to be responsible for her results. or their results, right? And, sometimes we focus only on why. Why am I afraid to ask? And I think a better question, once again, is, and write this down, how comfortable am I with receiving? Go ahead, put it in the chat. You could put the question so you can remember it later on, or write it in your journal, or answer it. How comfortable am I with receiving? I love to receive. I love to give, and I love to receive, right? So how do you feel when someone says no? Are you tracking that? How do you feel? What does that do to you? And then how do you feel when someone says yes? Yes, I'm going to do this. Yes, I'm going to pay you. Do you get excited? Or do you immediately think, oh my goodness, now I have to deliver on the promise. Now I'm responsible for her business, for her results, whatever it is, right? So I want to encourage you to please go to the chat right now and please share with me what comes up for you in your mind. Okay, let me see if I see some answers here, because I want to check and see what is going on in the chat. So I don't see any comments, and I am going to ask you to really share, because I really want this to be a conversation, because that's when things shift, and that's when you experience a transformation. So write in the chat the first thing that comes to your mind. Is it that you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel pressure? Are you afraid that you won't be able to deliver on your promise, or that they'll regret their decision, right? So if you can, take out your journal and journal about this. This is good stuff for you to get to know you and what's happening to you during that time, okay? So I want to ask that you consider something. What if your job is not to convince everyone to buy from you? What if that's not the job, to convince? What if your job is just to clearly communicate, right? That's all you have to do, clearly communicate who you help, right? The problem that you solve, how you help, and the opportunity that they have to allow you to help them. No convincing. Then you allow the other person to make an informed decision, because you're not worrying about convincing. You just want to share that you believe in your heart, and you come from your heart, that you have a solution that can help them. That way you don't have to chase them anymore, right? You don't have to have that pressure, and you're giving them a real opportunity to say yes. And, when you do that, and if you are protecting yourself from a no, right? I want you to ask yourself, why am I protecting myself from a no? What would a no mean to me? Right? It's all about good questions. Get good at it. I want you to answer in the chat if you feel comfortable, okay? When it's time to ask for the sale, I usually, what? When it's time to ask for the sale, what is happening? That's what I want to know. What is happening? We said a lot of things could be happening, right? And I want you to become aware if it's in your thoughts, if it's that money pest saying things, what's happening in your body, what are you feeling in your body, right? So there is no right or wrong answer for that question, by the way. So just answer frankly to yourself, as honestly as you can. Because this is simply about awareness. Because there is a lot of power in us becoming more and more aware of our nervous system response, of our body response, right? And what is happening internally when we are in that conversation with a prospective client, right? So remember, yesterday we started talking about, why does this still feel so hard, right? Being in business, asking for the sale. Today, you may actually be struggling to sell something that could really help the person you're speaking to, right? And I want to encourage you to really, if you want, go back and listen to this video again. You can also send me a direct audio message by visiting evds.com. So my name, EVDS, is the name of my website, evds.com. On the right-hand side, there is a call to action button that you can press and actually speak for about a minute. And you can leave me your questions or your thoughts, or even perhaps something that you would like for me to talk about for next Tuesday at 12:30 when I come back here and do another live stream for you. I love to hear what you like me to talk about. Right now, we're starting with the foundation of exploring within ourselves what is truly happening inside of us. That's what we're doing. We're exploring what is happening, in my business. What is happening? And I'm looking here to the right because I want to see who is here with me. So that's what we want to do. We just want to explore what is happening in my business. Where am I in my business? Am I satisfied with where I am financially, right? And am I satisfied with the way that I'm sharing my business opportunities? Why is it, if I am so good, right? I'm so good at doing what I do. Why is it that I still cannot generate more sales, generate more income, or we like to say manifest more money? Because what if the money problem isn't actually a business problem? What if there's actually something else going on beneath the surface that you haven't noticed, that you haven't explored, because perhaps you haven't healed it? If you like to find out more, come back. We're doing these every Tuesday and Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Florida time. That's where I'm located. And also, if you like this conversation, I want to invite you to go ahead and join our community by going to moneyfestlive.com, Moneyfest Live, because coming up on October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, 2026, we are having our 7th annual Moneyfest 2026. And we would love for you to join us. And it is a money festival, and yet we are covering so much more than just talking about the bills or the cash or money even. So I want to invite you to check it out. If you have any questions, like I said, you can go to evds.com. We are also still looking for a few speakers. So if you are a speaker, I'm going to give you a different URL, and that is moneyfestevent.com. So if you're a speaker that would like to speak, and that is you, if you are perhaps maybe a financial planner, because we'll have some of that, maybe a CPA, because we like to know and understand accounting better so we can do our business, but also a marketing expert. Maybe you're an AI expert. Maybe you're an event expert. We are looking for spiritual small business women that can talk about something that we should be learning and knowing in a workshop style, because this is all about doing it engaging in workshop style. So yes, we want you to have worksheets. Yes, we want you to engage the community. So if that is you or perhaps someone you know, please send them to moneyfestevent.com. Now, we are going to continue this conversation that I started over the next few weeks as we get closer to Moneyfest 2026 on October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. For now, I want to invite you to come back and listen to what I'm going to share with you, and participate in the chat for next Tuesday at 12:30. Now, here's something I want to leave you with. What if you are struggling because you don't know? What if the reason you're struggling to sell has nothing to do with your ability to sell? What if you're struggling because selling is activating something inside of you that deserves your curiosity? So once again, you may be struggling because selling activates something inside of you that deserves your curiosity. If you really want to uncover this, then I'm going to invite you to please join us at 12:30 p.m. Florida time, New York time, on Tuesday, and let's continue the conversation. For now, I'm Evie Diaz of evdiaz.com. I really appreciate you commenting, whether in the live stream or at the replay, because I really want to hear from you. Feel free to visit my website, evdiaz.com. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Bye.